So my partners have convinced me to keep going with the content creation and rock out next year with the YouTube. So I'm gonna keep giving y'all this content. But with that being said, to my 4 billion subscribers on YouTube, how y'all always broke but never sober? Quickly, don't hide behind the intro. Welcome back to another episode of TikTok. I am your host, Tashawn, known online as Sensei Trades or Sensei underscore on Instagram. I am a day trader of 7 years, and I have been able to pull millions of dollars from the Forex markets specifically. So now I'm taking my talents to YouTube to show y'all and the rest of the world how to become professional day traders in a simple but effective way. Now, before we get started into the show, I want to give just a couple news events just to ease y'all into what I'm going to be talking about today. So, just so I don't copy other content creators, I'm just going to call it fast news. So, with that being said, let's get into the first what am I going to find? The first of the fast news, and that is surprise, surprise. I got me a new overlay. I was able to figure out how to build one for the free ski because even though I'm rich, I'm cheap as hell. So now I got us a cool little overlay, make it look a little bit more professional. Of course, it's gonna be upgraded as the time goes, but just want to put myself to the test and see if I can really unlock my creative mind and produce some amazing content for y'all. So that's number one on the fast news. So now let's get into some actual news. Walmart has been going on an absolute tear these past like 6 months. Once summertime hit, Walmart was just the focus of attention. First thing was that they rolled back their DEI policies. Now, of course, to people who pro-victimize themselves, they believe that they're doing this as an act of racism against people who are not of pale skin tone. But in the reality, it's just simply telling you have to actually be good at the job and don't feel entitled to get the job just because you're not a specific race, right? But that's not the main focus of this. The moment they released those DEI rollbacks, everybody was going online talking about boycott Walmart, I'm anti-Walmart, this, that, and the third. So tell me why. Not even a couple months later, Walmart rolls out their fake Birkin bag. And this fake Birkin bag spread like wildfire to the same people who said boycott Walmart. Ain't that funny? And what's also funny is these very same people will also turn around and say, eat the rich. Why are rich people getting our money but not sharing it with us? But I find it very, very, very funny that even though you're anti-rich, you're still looking to purchase luxury garments created by the rich people. But you feel validated to purchase those luxury items just because the entity selling it is Walmart. You do understand that everybody in that scenario is, besides you, is a billionaire, right? You do realize that Walmart is a multi-billion-dollar company. The same way every designer brand is a multi-million, even billion-dollar company. And how do they make it this far? From the same people who do not stand on business when it comes to their own futures. Next up on Fast News, did you get arrested for taking a half-off flight recently? I know I didn't. I'm still here making this video. But I can't say the same for other people out there. Check this out.
The other night, I got arrested at the airport because I was doing a half-off flight. When y'all see people posting half-off flights, no, it ain't no half-off bail when that bail is up there. So basically, the day before yesterday, before I had called my flight, well, before I even had booked my flight, I seen that the flight was $849. I'm not gonna pay $849, or at least not right now. I'm not. Holidays, no, I'm not. So I seen this dude. He been posting half off flights for the whole past year. I've been following him for a minute. I've been seeing that people actually been getting the flights done and doing what they needed to do. But like it always go, God always got to show an example with me. He always got to show the example with me. I'm always the one he gonna show it with. So I'm walking up in the airport. I'm up in the airport. I get through security, everything, boarding pass, whoa, whoa, whoa. So now, as I get up to the gate, like we about to start boarding, I show her my boarding pass. She starts telling me it's saying the boarding pass was refunded or no. She couldn't find. This is how it went at first. She said she couldn't find the boarding pass. The boarding pass is not uploading. Like it's not coming up. Is there anything else I can show her? Some type of shit like that. So now I'm like, no, this is all I can. Like, what are you talking about? So then she ends up telling me that I need to go to the front desk. Like I need to go to the American Airline people part and ask them what's going on so they can have the ticket printed out or some shit like that. So as I'm walking up there, I start noticing that I see two police officers like not too far behind from me. Well, I'm thinking like they just there for security measures and shit like that. It's the airport. So now, as I get up to the front desk, I'm asking the lady like, what's going on with my ticket? She starts asking for my confirmation number and all that. So I'm giving her my confirmation number. I'm giving her everything she needs. Next thing you know, the officers come walking right up behind me, asking me, "Hey, are you?" Stated my name, and I said yes. And they asked me if I was having any issues with booking my ticket, like with my ticket being booked. I said yes, I do. For some reason, I can't board right now. Then they go and say, "Was the card you used under your name?" I just said no. I had a friend book it for me. They ended up saying, well, we need you to get that friend on the phone right now so we can confirm that this is his card numbers because as of right now, it's pushed back for fraudulent activity. So that's why you're not able to get on your flight. So now I'm blowing up his phone. Nothing's going through. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck was really this half off flight shit. And after like 15 minutes of him not answering, they sat there with me. They told me that I had to go hands behind my back and that I was getting arrested for some fraud shit and identity theft. And yeah, I just got out this morning, but the half off flight shit, this is not valid. No.
So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Somebody on social media, I bet you they had the black screen, the all black screen with the white letters on it. So you're telling me that somebody with the black screen says I can get you half off flights and you don't ask how? Dog, you don't ask how? Not even people who work for the airlines get half off flights. The people who get on the plane the cheapest, the worker, the flight attendants and the pilot themselves, yo. What honestly makes you think that an airline is going to give you half off of flights? What made you better yet, what makes you think that this random person on Instagram or or your high school classmate can get you half off flights on an airline? Let me tell you what's actually happening here. These scammers are taking people's credit cards, paying for the entire ticket while you send them half. So if the ticket was $800, like Buddy in the video, you will send them 400. They will pay the entire 800 with somebody else's credit card and then give you the ticket. But now, as you see, the only reason that it was working for other people is because those victims, those who are actually getting scammed, woke up in time to see that I didn't authorize this purchase. So they wasn't able to reverse the ticket before they was able to check it and get on their flights. But my guy here was the unlucky one. And of course, people always want to blame God when something goes bad, but never want to praise him when something goes good. There was no God in this. I need y'all to stop bringing God into your foolishness. God didn't make you a fool. He may have not showed you, right? Just because more often than not, you're not getting a direct answer, but he never made you a fool. He gave you the sense of discernment for a reason. You should have used that to think, how is this guy or gal getting me half off of flights? But nope, but nope. They just go off of their feelings. They see, oh, cool. And now look where they are. In jail. So, lesson for that one is stop believing everybody on the internet. Please stop believing everybody on the internet. Because, look, let's piggyback right off of that. The reason you need to stop believing everybody on the internet is because most of them can't read or count. Look at this. Look at these statistics here. On average, 79% of US adults nationwide are literate in 2024. But here's where it gets good. 21% of adults in the US are illiterate in 2024. 54% of adults have a literacy below a 6th grade level. 20% are below a 5th grade level. Low levels of literacy cost the US up to $2.2 trillion per year. Per year. But it's rich people's fault, right? It's rich people's fault, right? You talking about blame the rich. Y'all can't even read. Y'all can't even read, bro. 54% of y'all cannot read above a 6th grade level. The fact that any of y'all can't read above a 5th grade level, you can't make it out of elementary school, dog. So y'all went into high school just floating, ain't it? Y'all went into high school just floating. Y'all was like, hey man, I'm here. Look, let's get it done. Let's get the diploma, get up out of here. but from these stats, most of y'all ain't even get y'all diploma. Oh my gosh. But look at this next though. Look at this next. Fewer than 10% of US adults are good with numbers. Just 9% of Americans can identify the percentage of men who had more than 6 years of schooling in 1970 from 2 stacked column bar graphs representing how many years of schooling men and women in Mexico have had by decade. So y'all can't even read column graphs. Here's the thing with all this. Then after this, we're gonna get into the main topic of the show. Y'all sit up on the internet and trying to tell people about numbers, about the economy, how things won't go this well because of A, B, C, and D. But the statistics show y'all don't know what you're talking about. Literally, if you are not literate enough to read something, comprehend what you just read, you don't need to be having these conversations because you literally lack the ability to think critically. The ability to think better comes from reading. The ability to speak better comes from reading. You feel me? Being able to properly write comes from reading. If you don't read, you're not gonna be literate. It sounds like common sense, but from the numbers, it's not. From the numbers, it's not. So now let's get into the main part of the show. The topic that I'm gonna be yapping about today is mentality and mindset. Not everybody is dealt the same hand. Nobody's dealt the same hand. Even if you come from the same family, you do not get dealt the same hand. Life is not black and white. There is no blueprint to life. You establish the blueprint for yourself. Even if you emulate somebody else's blueprint, you still need to create your own. People don't want to put in the effort to do that. They have the mentality of, I want to remain average. Now, don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong with being average, but you can't make the declaration to be average and then complain that you get average results. You can't complain that rich people are taking advantage of things when you yourself don't even know what they're taking advantage of. Y'all just hear everything on the internet to say, oh, eat the rich, make the rich pay their fair share, but then turn around and have problems with the processes that are trying to get put in place to have rich people come and pay their fair share. Even with that, rich people don't got nothing to do with you. What those rich people do with their money has nothing to do with you. There is $21 trillion available for use right now in the USA. If you can't even get a crumb of that, that is your fault. That is 100% your fault. You cannot blame anybody else but yourself. Everything that happens in life begins with you. Now, don't try to turn around and be like, oh, but what about things that are out of my control? Stop making the minority the majority of the conversation. You are responsible for your own actions after you turn 18 years old. After you turn 18 years old, you are considered an adult in basically almost every state here in the US. The only thing you can't do is buy alcohol and tobacco. So to try to blame everybody else for your problems is the reason why you're not going to progress at all. Progression starts with accountability, and accountability sucks. That's why you got to start with it. It don't feel good to acknowledge the fact that you are wrong. It doesn't, but it needs to happen. I had a talk the other day with one of my partners, and we was talking about the Bible. We was talking about Paul, and we was talking about how Paul was a serial killer turned into a believer of God. And so my question was, how can a serial killer get the same grace that the innocent lives that they took would have gotten as well? And upon receiving the answer, I was just too shallow. I was thinking too shallow about it and came to the realization I need to do my homework. But see, the problem is most of y'all ain't gonna make that assumption about yourself. You are going, even if it's given to you plain as day that you are wrong, that your information needs to change, something about you needs to correct, you will still try to find a way to pass the buck to somebody else. And that's why you ain't progressing in life. I'll bring it even more closer to home. I deal with this at work all the time. I work at Amazon. All I hear every day without fail, somebody complaining about the job. Oh, they don't pay me enough. Oh, the managers are bad. HR don't rock with me. Then leave. Nobody is putting a gun to your head every morning and telling you to get up and make it to work on time and work at this job. Nobody told you to get up and work for the bald robot man in his robot plantation. And what's funny is y'all avoid accountability so bad that y'all go on strike trying to get a company to pay you more just for that same company to say, bet, hold these robots. It's all about the mentality, man. It's all about the mentality. If you don't have the mentality to get up and go get it for yourself, you are going to be caught in these situations where you are part of the crowd that's getting done dirty. You can't complain about a job not paying you good enough when you yourself are basically worthless to society. Yes, you are worthless to society. Matter of fact, no, that's harsh. Let me not say you're worthless. You don't add value to society. You don't have any skills that a workforce can look at and go, he or she is going to be hard to replace. You've worked at McDonald's your entire adult life and now made the pivot to work at Amazon, and you still demand more? I guarantee that majority of the people in there don't even realize their entire payment package. Honestly, everywhere. Y'all do realize your base pay isn't your entire compensation, right? Look, Amazon's base pay in the door is $18 an hour. But on top of that, you get benefits, dental, visual, all of that. And then on top of that, you have the ability to go to school. Amazon gives each individual employee after 90 days $5,000 minimum to go to school and pick up some kind of education. But people don't want to do the research. They don't dive deep enough to figure that out. So your entire compensation package, your base pay may have you at $30K a year, but everything around that jumps you up to 40. And let's be real. I'm gonna be completely real for a second. Complete transparency. I make $21 an hour as a 24-year-old with no kids, just a wife. If you cannot make do, if you are my age and you cannot, with no kids, if you are in my exact same position and you can't make do with $21 an hour, that's your fault. It didn't matter what president. This is the stop trying to blame presidents for your lack of financial control. I have not once complained that groceries were too expensive for me to purchase. Yes, I may acknowledge, dang, things got more expensive. But that did not come to the detriment of my fridge. It's because y'all don't know how to shop. Y'all don't know how to grocery shop. Y'all buy all the processed boxed stuff and don't want to cook nothing for real. Once again, lack of accountability of self. You drop $300 on everything in a box, but don't want to pay half of that to grab you some fruits, some vegetables, and some meat that you actually have to clean, cook, and do all that stuff with. Y'all want convenience, but don't have the means to constantly get that convenience. It costs money for convenience. When rich people buy things, they're buying them to save themselves time. I will hire you to do my job just so I can go do something else. And you ain't gonna have no problem with it because you don't have any other skills out here because you feel like you should be able to make do how your grandparents did back in the day. Now, while the logic makes sense, it's just not that time anymore. Inflation has risen throughout multiple presidents and things are just naturally more expensive. Now, granted, I do agree with the fact that minimum wage needs to get higher than $7.25 across the board. That has not changed for the past decade. Yeah, about the past decade. But regardless, it is up to you to make do with your own life. I have not made it this far in my career making complaints. I did not make it as far as I have complaining about my situation, crying about it, and making no changes. One of the greatest gifts that God has given you is the ability to change. Your dog is not going to wake up a cat tomorrow. Your fish is not going to wake up as a bird tomorrow. But you can wake up and change your entire life just off a shift of your mindset. I wake up every single day feeling like I'm better than everybody on this planet. And that doesn't come from a place of ego. That comes from a place of facts. I have put in the work to the point I have undeniable facts that I really am like that. You need to get on board with that same mentality. I feel that I'm better than most people. Let me not say better than most people because I'm above nobody. I'm above nobody. But I do pride myself in having a better work ethic than you. I have failed more times than you've even tried. While you're making complaints, I'm trying to figure out how to adjust that so I never have to complain about it again. Y'all rather be comfortable in your pain than uncomfortable in your success. And that is the crazy part about it. Y'all will rather struggle in comfort. Sounds like an antithesis, right? Y'all will rather be comfortable in your struggle than uncomfortable in your success. And I mean, hey, rock out how you want to, but you can't sit here and complain that you aren't reaping my rewards, right? Because you don't want to put the work in. You don't want to go the extra mile. You don't want the finer things in life. And once again, while that is fine, you cannot complain. You sit there and you whine, you moan, you cry, and do nothing about it. That is why I'm ahead of you in life. That is why we can go into the same workplace. But while you done messed around and made an enemy of every manager in the building because of your stank attitude, because you feel like Amazon should pay you more, I made friends with every single one of them. So now you're getting ridden up by being on your phone, and they see me on my phone and look the other way. It's about mentality. You will never surpass me. Even if you did surpass me, you will never surpass me because I'm going to work 10 times harder to surpass you. You better not let up. You better not let up because I'm coming. Trust and believe. 2024 was a dud. I'm not gonna lie. But 2025, I'm getting back in my bag. And you need to get back in yours too. I understand that the markets were kind of ugly, pivoting over to more trading things now. I understand that the markets were ugly this year due to the elections, but the moment the president was called, the markets corrected. So there's no reason why you're going into 2025 making the same mistakes you did in 2024 and crying about them. You do not manage your risk. You full port your entire account and then get mad when you blow it in 1 or 2 trades, but then want to sit here on the internet and expect sympathy for your lack of discipline, for your lack. No, you need to stop giving yourself that grace. Stop acting like you don't. You know good and well you shouldn't have put that much on your account. You know good and well you shouldn't have put that trade in because everything about your mind was telling you, I'm not feeling it. But you still click the button anyway, and guess what? You lost. But then want to cry and blame somebody else. You want to blame your mentor. because your strategy didn't work. That's the problem with y'all. That's why majority of y'all will never see success in these markets, because you don't have the accountability of yourself to keep that discipline to actually get things done, to actually turn a profit. You don't do what you're supposed to do every day. You switch up your approach every new day and then wonder why you don't see any progression. You need to focus. I don't care what any guru on the internet says. Tell them to run the bands with me. Your strategy does not mean a damn thing. I don't care how profitable they are. If they're telling you that your strategy needs to be on point, they are lying. They're trying to sell you a course. I have not collected a single penny from anybody that's rocked with me up to this point. I don't have a reason to sell you a course because I actually do this. I don't need to make these videos to turn a profit on YouTube to support my life. I get my own. I get it out the mud for real. Forget these certificates on my wall. The progress that I made was shown live. People watched me grow into one of the best traders in the world. That's where my pride comes from. My pride comes from the fact that I put the work in. I stayed up night after night. I ran back test sessions all day in and out to the point where my screen was getting damaged. I put in more work than you, and I know I did. That's why I walk around with my whole chest out, because I have undeniable facts that I am him. I am him. Nobody could take that away from me. Only God could take that away from me. And guess what? He did already. And I still came back. I came back wiser. I came back smarter. I don't care if there's the same thing. Look, I'm turned right now. I came back better than ever. And now I sit on my throne. When are you going to sit in yours? When are you going to make the change? 2025 is 2 days away. When are you going to make the change to actually make your life better? When are you going to stop making the same mistakes and crying about it? When are you going to actually make the pivot? When are you actually going to look for a new job instead of complaining about your old one? When are you going to put the work in? Answer that question for yourself. You can watch as many YouTube traders traders as you want. Only you will find your own success. You need to light that fire up under you. You need to light that fire up under you, and you need to get to it. But with that being said, enough yapping. I done yapped y'all heads off for about 10 minutes now. I'm going to end the video off with some chart work. I was able to catch one trade on NASDAQ last night going into this morning for one of my students. So I'm going to review that real quick, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here. All right, so here we are on the micro NASDAQ 100. So what I like to use is what I call the SKC Fibonacci. Don't think too hard about it. It's just a Fibonacci that consists of 0, 0.5, 1, negative 0.25, and negative 0.5 as entry, stop loss, and profit targets. You plot the fib by finding 3 structure points: the current high, the current low, and then the previous structure that was broken prior to that. So as you can see, we had lows previously broken in the market, so that was my indication to look for sells. I plotted the SKC fib from that current high to the newest current low. Missed the precise entry at the 50% level, but I seen NASDAQ pulling away. I entered sells and I took my exits at my 0.25 for a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio and for a profit of $1,200. Simple trading. I don't dive into all those concepts and other stuff that those gurus on YouTube talk to you about. I go for simplicity and expert levels of risk management. I hope you enjoyed this episode of TikTok, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.